Welcome and good morning, everybody, to another day of Talent Talk. We got an exciting episode coming to you. And today I just wanted to introduce my cohort, my friend, Jurgen Robinson.
Woo! What's joining in that? You know,
How you doing, Jurgen?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We're missing a person this morning, Davina Clardy. And Davina is out. I think she's taking her daughter to college this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was thinking, typically we're like a three-legged table, nice and fairly steady, but today we're a two-legged table. So I think we're going to be completely unbalanced.
Just a little wobbly. Someone to give us a little balance sometimes.
Absolutely. Oh, were you watching yesterday?
Oh, you know what? I did miss it. I did, but I heard I missed the. It was like a really good game last quarter.
I had knots in my stomach through most of the game. I don't know why. I started the game talking about the Seahawks and Patriots last night. I started the game with just a huge knot, feeling something bad could happen. And the first play or second throw interception for a touchdown. Oh, starting off 7-0-7. But it was a great game.
I'm just happy like football is back. Just being it's a little wonky, but if you're watching on TV, you get the same feel because they've got the audience piped in, but then you see like an empty stadium, so it's just kind of like interesting.
Yeah, but it took away a lot of that home field advantage for the Hawks because Donna, heart attack game, absolutely. I believe I heard they could only get they were only allowed to take it up to like 70 decibel, where if I remember right, the Hawks can get up to 120, 100 and above that. I'm not sure the exact decibel, but oh my goodness, yeah, it was different but fun. And you got tonight.
That's right.
There's a little shield behind you.
That's right. My team, the Raiders, go Raiders. They play this New Orleans, I believe. So be a good game tonight.
All right.
So hey, let's jump into some talent talk. We've got a great guest in. I'm really excited because in our industry, a lot of times we have things that pop up, and we need to have someone to call on when damage happens, when things occur. So let's talk about who we got on here, Jurgen. But actually, before we do, we've got kind of a trivia question that kind of leads into our guest here. So our trivia question for today is, what are the 3 general categories of water damage? You have a multiple choice answer, 3 of them. Is it A, clean, black, and gray? Is it B, category 1, category 2, category 3? Or is it C, sanitary, sewage, or clean water? What is the 3 general categories of water damage?
I don't know. And our guests certainly would know, but we won't have them answer it. But in between here, right now is a great time to be able to talk about it because, with pipes, we're getting into the fall. First, we're going to have damage from potentially above from leaks, but also those leaks can happen inside the home.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very common, especially this coming into this time of year. Pipes freezing, water breaking. We'll probably hear some good stories from our guests. So
without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest. Our guest is Robert France. He is the Sales and Marketing Director at SERVPRO, serving Puyallup, Sumner, Auburn, Enumclaw, and Lacey. He has 10 years of sales and marketing experience. He was promoted in May to rebuild the sales department and manage a team of 5. He's responsible for all sales and marketing activities, digital marketing, large losses, emergency planning, creating sales strategies, implementing new CRM program, developed a chasing program, and continues to manage relationships with top 100 clients. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Robert France. Welcome, Robert.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's everyone doing?
Good. Thanks for coming on, Robert.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction and bringing that energy this morning. I love it.
It is finally the weather is clear and it's a nice day. No smoke in the air.
Well, yeah, and for us too, that created a whole new issue for us because we were actually dealing with helping a lot of businesses stay smoke-free by putting our air filtration system into those businesses while we had those issues. We're actually dispatching out of Portland and Eastern Washington too with all the smoke region-wide. So it's been a crazy 2020 for our industry also, as for everyone else has.
Yeah, I know, and we know who you are as SERVPRO because
Sure.
In real estate, you are a great resource. But for those who don't understand or know who SERVPRO is, can you tell us a little about SERVPRO?
Of course, and I think that's a great question to start. I appreciate that because a lot of people don't know. And what SERVPRO is really, it's a network of about 1,300 owned and operated franchises throughout North America. And what each franchise really specializes in is content and structure restoration, mainly dealing with fire and water damages. Those are kind of our main services, but really our industry business model and every franchise goal is to save money over replacement of structure and content in a disaster situation. A lot of people believe that when there's a disaster, when you file an insurance claim, someone comes in and brings everything, rebuilds everything new, brings everything new. But that's not really the case because restoration is usually 2 to 5 times cheaper to restore than replace. That's the kind of area that we operate in. So really, our industry is all about saving claims costs for the insurance companies and for the individual business owner or for the resident, saving them money while we can come in and restore where you don't have to replace the whole house or you don't have to replace all the contents in a business or so on and so forth.
Nice. Yeah, a little bit of savings helps and goes a long way. So, okay.
Yeah.
Robert, over the last several months with dealing with COVID and working around what's going on, how has your service and company adjusted to COVID here in the last several months?
So there's been a lot of adjustments in our industry. I do feel like that we're, from a business standpoint, we did get a little bit lucky based on other industries into 2020 because with COVID came some work for us. What we really did in the months of February, March, and April, especially in my franchise, is I felt like we almost became scientists. We really started learning about COVID, what's going on, how to disinfect it, what are all the protocols? Because what we found out is our industry was already equipped to handle this kind of situation. Maybe not in this kind of mass, but we already have the disinfectants, the masks, the gloves, the Tyvek suits, and really the expertise to clean a confirmed case, a COVID situation in the village. Because that's what we have done in the past is we do crime scene cleanup, we do bio cleanup. We really deal with some pretty sewage cleanup, broken septic tanks. So we already really deal with some pretty nasty situations. And when COVID came in 2020, we had most of the expertise and all of the equipment to really handle this situation. So in 3 months, by April, we were cleaning a lot of confirmed cases, and our franchise alone has already cleaned 5 million square feet of confirmed cases in businesses throughout the state of Washington.
Wow, that's actually pretty incredible. Now you do so much. I mean, when you're talking about that, you're talking about crime scene, you're talking about sewage, you're talking about backup. You're also talking now about COVID, being able to disinfect and make sure everybody is actually taken care of and safe. This may be a 2 different answer. In a normal time, what would you say your most common service request is? And then, maybe off of that, during the time with COVID and the pandemic, have you seen that shift in some way, or is it pretty much remained the same?
Sure. Well, during normal times, and our business is seasonal. So during normal times, water damages are number one requested service during, and you guys kind of hit it on earlier, we're getting into that season, broken pipes, storms, clogged drains. So water damages definitely in the winter and springtime. And then for in the summer, we actually do get a lot of fire cleaning requests. That's when, barbecues start going up, all the summer activities start happening. And we actually do get a good amount of fire damage. And last couple of years, unfortunately, our summers have been packed with traveling around the region, helping wildfires and helping really the after effect of wildfires, where we can, like I said, keep a business with at least improve the air quality while it's happening, and then any structure damage, of course, we can clean. So that's summer's been pretty busy the last couple of years with fire damages.
Yeah.
Oh, I never even really thought about the whole fire damage part in the barbecue, but I guess there's certain aspects of people out there barbecuing and catching their place on fire there. So.
You guys said that, there's stories in this industry. I have so many, stories. It's very interesting how many different ways damages are started. Like with water damages, no one thinks to check their ice maker in their fridge. It's a little water line that causes so much water damage because no one checks it. It's behind a fridge, and usually it just leaks behind your wall, causing maybe 6 months of damage. But these little things that everyone says that they check and don't check often. It's just interesting how many different ways, unfortunately, damage can start. So be careful out there, people.
Yeah, that one we've seen quite a bit in our industry with that little water line behind the fridge.
Yeah.
That one, a lot of people.
I'm sure you guys know it much better, than the general public. And to answer your second part, we have shifted. I mean, I would say from about February through June, 60 to 70% of our calls were about COVID. In the beginning, everyone was just asking questions. We were one of the industries that did have the supplies to clean and stockpiles of that. So we did have the disinfectant at first, but again, we had to order much more. But I would say for 4 or 5 months, we did 2/3 of our work was all COVID related, which is a complete switch to what we were usually handling at that time, which would be mainly focused on those water damages coming out of the winter.
Okay.
Nice.
So we had to become, as I call us, we had to become, quasi-scientists for a couple of weeks there. And we were reading CDC guidelines every day. I mean, from February to May, I mean, not that we have that great of a grasp on it now, but we were, the CDC guidelines were changing literally daily on the protocol to clean, protocol for employees, what type of product you should be using. And that's what we did every morning for about an hour, is just go through those and catch up with the daily briefing and updates.
I'd love to say that is completely interesting, but oh my God, falsely.
It was frustrating because we had to tell our clients something different every day. A client would call in and, let's say it took us 48 hours to get the scope together. And once, unfortunately, during those 48 hours, the CDC guidelines changed and we had to adjust our scope. Not the best thing to do to your client, but those are the times we're in.
Yeah.
Steve?
So Robert, talking about the season that we're coming in, water pipes. If someone were to find some water damage behind their refrigerator, maybe it's even mold. What's the process and what should happen when they find that on the property?
Sure. So the first and foremost thing, and not everyone needs to realize this, if you have water damage, even if you have mold, which means you've had water damage in the past and microbial growth has attached to that, is you got to find the source first and foremost. What is causing that water damage? What is causing that mold? Because usually water damages and mold don't happen in a normal environment, in a normal business environment, and in a normal residence. And so the first thing you have to do is really find the source of that issue, and that would be done with 2 ways really. And if it's an active leak or if there's active water, you have to turn the water off first, and then really your next call is a plumber. Disaster restoration, we can come in and dry out the structure if there's water damage. But if not a lot of people realize it, but if the source is not fixed, we're just doubling up our work, because we can go in and dry it. Source is not fixed, causes the damage again. We go in and dry it a couple times, and this can cause sometimes a little frustration, especially in the residential area. And this is something great just to prep customers and clients in the situation, that you do need to get a plumber first and foremost out there to fix the source of the leak. Then we'll come in and dry it, because we don't want to bill anyone twice for doing double work. And at the time when they're dealing with the disaster risk, when they're dealing with the damage, it's a little frustrating that, I have to call someone else to get a plumber. But again, we're trying to do this the proper way. I'm not trying to double bill anyone. So with the water damage, it's first fix the source, call a plumber, then call us. With mold, it would be, with mold and not standing water, that means you have something a little bit more long-term going on. It would be calling a company like SERVPRO for disaster restoration. We will come up and do inspection. And again, try to find what in the environment is causing that mold, fix that, and then of course remove the mold and dry out the structure.
Nice. Wow. That's not a little bit. Rob, I'm going to throw you just a slight curveball, because it's the morning, so I'm going to stretch just a little bit. Steve, right? We're all fascinated with like superheroes, but superheroes are only needed in small opportunities. And sometimes what you do is almost like being a superhero. You mentioned you have a lot of stories. Is there a time or a story you can think of where you almost felt a little bit like a superhero for what your guys were able to do out in the field?
Well, I say that I feel like that almost every day of what we do. That's one of the misconceptions, I think, in our industry. You can't see. Not everyone sees the amount of what our crews go through. Our crews are the ones out there. I lived through my first year in this industry was in 2009, when the region had a big storm, big cat mode. And, there was basically so many flooded basements and broken pipes. It was, we had jobs, we couldn't hire fast enough. The whole industry was inundated. And basically what our crew guys did is, about for 6 weeks, they ended up working about 18 hours a day, 16 to 18 hours a day, really just trying to get to as many customers as possible. These guys were going out at midnight, 11 o'clock at night, going out to see a new customer, because they knew their basement was flooded. They're literally standing in water and can't get any help, because it was such a bad event. We fly when a hurricane happens. Our crews and our senior project managers are the first ones down there helping. When the first couple of days that we're in a regional event, a hurricane or flooding, we're not even doing securing work for us. We're just out there really helping people, providing power, providing water, providing power, helping people evacuate. So I feel like our guys, our crew, they're mini superheroes every day, because and unfortunately, a loss for a job for us is someone's damage, someone's emergency, someone's trauma, really, and that's every day for us that we go into, and our industry is really based on just helping people every single day, both on the business side and on the personal side of things.
Yeah, well, that's incredible, because we never think about you. But when we need you,
yes.
I'm so glad you're there.
I hear that all the time. Hey, Rob, really like you. I just don't love to use you all the time. but it is one of those industries where it is forgotten a little bit. It is kind of hidden under insurance and under construction. But again, what we really strive on is helping people every single day, and we're 7 days a week. We have on-call crews helping Saturdays, Sundays, last week, and dispatching jobs, because again, in our industry, it can't wait. We got to go and help now, or it gets much worse.
Yeah. I was thinking about superheroes, and just flashback of when I had a flooding in my house, and it was just a mess. They came out in the evening time, got to work, got rid of the water, fixed the damage. So yeah, thinking about superheroes, I mean, we are so happy to see you when you're out there and you're coming at crazy hours of the night, start to go to work. So
I don't know if it's happy or relieved.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we get that a lot. Just when we say we on our way, the situation changes, right? You're calling, you're freaking out. Most people aren't experts in dealing with it and know what to do. Half the people don't even realize that they should turn off the water because it's it could be the most traumatic day in their lives, and that's why we do the 24 hours and we dispatch right away, because it's hey, if someone's on the way, an expert's on the way to help, we'll help with the situation, and that's at least 50% of the battle usually.
yeah. Robert, and talking about like all the work and stuff that you guys provide in the services, what have you found to be like the easiest and the hardest to remedy?
So this one for our industry isn't really necessarily service-based. It's really for us information-based. And this is kind of what comes from what I've been talking about earlier is, when we get a job, when we get an opportunity to go out and help someone, we don't get a lot of that information. We really don't know what's going on. And with, structure drying, to dry to structure, it is scientific. We do use science and we do use a lot of equipment. And really the toughest jobs for us are to respond when we don't know what's going on. When someone is, truly experiencing a traumatic event, when they have 2 feet of water in their business and they're running around, no power is out. And so those are the toughest things for us to respond to when we don't really know a lot of information. When we do get that information ahead of time, and that's another thing that, it's a good thing to teach customers about, is when you do call in loss or you're calling a disaster restoration company, please have the patience for about 3 to 5 minutes to tell them all the information that's what's going on, because that's going to help a disaster restoration company respond much quicker, much better with the correct equipment. There are times when we go out to a job site and we have the wrong equipment, or we have only a third, really half the time, or most of the time, it's really have only a third of the equipment that we need, or 20% of the equipment we need, because we don't have all the information. So when we don't have the information, it really makes it tough on us. When we do get that information, disaster restoration is pretty effective, and again, it's very science and technology based now. Over the last 30 years, we had a lot of that, so it is very effective when we have all the correct information.
Yeah, Robert, you said it more than a couple times, and we didn't lead off by saying disaster restoration company. Now, first, the fact that it says disaster in there feels like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. But because most people don't need your service most times,
yeah,
we really don't have a good understanding of it. And then when calling, a lot of times there's a lot of stress that's involved when calling. So you're dealing with not only the actual disaster, the cleanup or whatever you've got going on, but you're dealing with emotions that are tied to that as well. Mm-hmm. What are some of the biggest misunderstandings or misconceptions that are around about the disaster restoration industry? Because it is something we don't know a whole lot about.
Sure. And again, great question, because I think a lot of people do not understand. Even myself, before I worked in this industry in 2009, I had very little idea about this industry. The number one biggest misconception, as I kind of referred to it earlier, is, especially maybe by some of the insurance industry or by some of the contractors or some of our referral sources, is that disaster restoration might not be necessary and it's expensive. And those are very two big misconceptions, because number one, all we do is, as I said earlier, our business model is to save money in content and structure drying over replacement. So we can come in, if you experience a loss, and if you got everything rebuilt and everything new, it would cost you $50,000. But if we can come in, let's say, and save, not everything, because not everything can always be saved. We totally understand that. There's going to have to be part of the rebuild, and the contents close to the loss or the source of loss or the effect that have to be replaced. But we can really come in there and save. Let's say take that $50,000 example. We can take that bill down to maybe 20 or 30,000 just by restoring half of the things. And that's our business model. We're not there to price gouge. We're not there to do any unnecessary services. These services are very necessary because replacement is just so expensive. Because when you come to a structure replacement, you got to pay for the tearing down cost and then the rebuilding cost, which can multiply really quickly. Where we can come in and maybe save a whole room and then you only have to rebuild run room, and then two. You said it perfectly. We deal with disaster restoration. We are here to help people. We are here to go in a very unpleasant situation and do the best we can. Totally have to deal with trauma and people's frustration during the situation, and that I think gives the industry a little bit bad of a rap. But we are those mini superheroes every day, going out there and just trying to help and save money for the insurance carrier, for the contractor, and for the person involved in the loss.
Yeah. And Steve, we've probably got 2 questions, 7 and 8. That really, because Robert, we could probably talk to you for a long time. I would love at some point, I would grab a beer with you and listen to some of the stories, I think.
Oh yeah. You don't get me started on all the trauma stories and stuff like that. That's for another day for sure. But I would love to do that.
Okay. Steve? Hey, Robert, how effective is the remediation process, and are there any warranties?
Yes. So nowadays it's very effective. Again, as I said, if we have the correct information, know what's going on, know what kind of, let's say, water caused the water damage, or what kind of structure you're dealing with. We apply a lot of scientific. It's called psychometrics. We apply a lot of science now to it, and it's really effective. We can dry out a structure usually in 3 to 5 days. Again, usually, and then that's given normal situations, and we can clean a structure top down usually in 1 to 2 weeks from a fire damage. So if we have that information, the equipment now is catching up. We have sensors, penetrating sensors that can get through walls. We use a lot of infrared technology now. So if we have all the information, both fire and water damages are really effective.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like 40 years ago they used to kind of feel the wall and see if it's wet or not. But we've advanced way past that.
Yeah. So you're saying a sledgehammer is not a penetrating device?
I mean, it totally is for us. But usually the customers don't like that. As we say, we can try to dry out anything with enough time and money. But usually people have some kind of restraints on the time and money issues. So and that's what they used to do, before we had a lot of these penetrating moisture meters and infrared, and now we can see where it's cold, where it's hot. You got no other option than just to rip a wall apart and go look. And that's that's what the industry used to be, but not anymore. We try to avoid that at all costs nowadays.
Robert, definitely interesting, and it's a great thing. I mean, what you do and what your guys do is incredibly important out there. We just hope we never see you.
Right. No, totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. Steve, before the last question or with the last question, any other questions prior to getting to the last one?
No. I think Robert's given us a lot of great information. I would love to come and bring him back and just maybe hear some of the stories. But that's probably safe for next time.
Yeah. We'll have story time. We'll put on some soft music and But
we see it all.
So the last question we have for you then is really, what's the best place to go for a list of the services you do? How do people find you and contact you?
Sure. I would say the best place is our website, www.servpropuyallup.com. That's really going to give you the best idea of all the services, because we do. I just created all services marketing material and there's about 52 services on it that are primary services that we do. So there's a lot of variety. It just goes way beyond the fire and water damage. But our website would be the best place to go. All the contact information's out there. We do respond, 24/7. We always have on-call project managers, on-call staff, and on-call crews ready to go. So definitely check out our website at SERVPRO.com.
Awesome. Well, Robert, really appreciate your time. This is fun. Thank you,
gentlemen. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
And since Davina is gone today, if Steve and I just completely tear up this show and we destroy it, we know who we can call to fix it, right?
24/7.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you, Robert. Man, that was like a ton of great information right there.
You know, sometimes one of the hard things is when we end up talking about this, we cover so much information. So I love when we're able to invite some people back and just get into a little more detail on some of the smaller things, because that was a lot of info. Hey, Davina. Are we keeping it going okay without you? I mean, you can be critical if you'd like.
All right, we got a trivia question still, don't we?
We does.
We do. So what are the 3 general categories of water damage?
Are you here to rob us?
Maybe. So today's trivia question is, what are the 3 general categories of water damage? Is it A, clean, black, and gray, B, category 1, category 2, category 3, or C, sanitary, sewage, or clean water? Any guesses from you guys?
I saw the answer, but I didn't know the answer, and I would have guessed it wrong.
All right.
I would have done the same. I would have. Well, if I tell you what I would have chosen, you would. Well, actually, we're about to give the answer. I would have thought on first look that it was a sanitary, sewage, and clean water.
That's what I would have said too.
Yeah. Exactly. But then when I think about it, sanitary and clean water should be the same, shouldn't they?
It should.
There's only one of those 3 I wouldn't drink.
Oh my God. All right, guys. Well, the answer is A, clean, black, and gray.
Ooh.
And there's only one of those I would drink.
I hope so. I truly do hope so.
Unless you were younger and it was on a dare or double dare.
No. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right. So we got some real estate news and updates for you. So coming up this week. Oh yes. Thank you, Davina. So coming up this week, this Wednesday we have our business meeting for John L. Scott. Lots of new stuff coming in. So for our brokers, tune in. We got lots of new stuff coming your way. Forms Friday is going on this Friday. This Friday, we're going to be talking about the JLS Buyer Representation Agreement and bringing value to your buyers. Then we also have Facebook Friday at our John L. Scott webpage, where we bring in a person within the industry to go over what's going on in the industry. And then also Friday, we have our market update, where we talk about our new listings that are coming on the market, open houses, and just a market update and insight of what's kind of going on in our marketplace. So tune in, lots of really good stuff brought to you by John L. Scott. So boom.
Yeah, and stay tuned. We're going to have a few more things that are going to go on. Our goal is to get you a lot of information. There's a lot happening. We want to be your go-to, your lean-on resource for all things real estate. And we want to always give you great value. And thank you, Pat. She said great info. I like praise. So, if anybody wants to give thumbs up and praises, we're all about it. So
that's right. All right, Jurgen, we ready for the Monday?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is. It's looking like a cloudy day, but a pretty nice day starting out there. I'm looking backwards because, as you can see, I have a window behind me. So I'm not just staring at the wall.
Mine's got blinds, but hey.
Yeah. You know what? It's making me sad. I'm looking right behind me, and I'm seeing this, and I know that the playoffs are going on right now, and I don't get to see the Sonics. So that's my own personal little.
That's right. Maybe one day, Seattle will have a team.
That, you know what? The hockey team was the first step to getting the Sonics back.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, Steve, any parting words? Did you learn something new today?
Yes. I know who to call. They do crime scene cleanup as well.
Not Ghostbusters? They're a different kind of well, they're not necessarily fixing it. They're taking care of. Uh-oh.
That's right. Oops.
Oh, hey, there we are. I just my screen disappeared, so I thought I dropped off the stream, and I think that's probably a clue.
All right. I saw a big B bowl pop up. I think there we go.
It is.
I think it's time, Jurgen.
All right. Should we count it on out?
Yep.
All right. Do it together?
All right.
All right.
1,
2, 3. Be bold. All right. Have a great day. Oh, guess what? I still need to do this. Bye.
Peace.